Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides Wit Schla. And today we were not able to do any Walks Wit Schlas due to the weather. Although I did manage to do one for a brief... I didn't get to do it. I was able to go outside for a brief period of time, and it was an interesting experience, to say the least. A very interesting experience. And yeah, I don't know, the way things looked was pretty cool, in my opinion. I was pretty happy with how things looked. They looked interesting. It was like a dark color, but not really dark. It's kind of like this in-between darkness. I thought it was pretty neat. And then it started raining, so had to go back inside. But at least for that brief period, it was sort of a surreal moment. And these kids on the school bus were waving at me, smiling, which is always kind of interesting, you know. I feel like it's strange, you know. I lack recognition in a lot of ways. The ways that I seek it, I lack it. But in these minor ways, somehow, some way, I end up getting some kind of noticing. It always seems to work that way. It's pretty interesting, you know, how I'm made to feel about that sort of thing. And yeah, and that's about all I have to say about that. And so yeah, today honestly went by pretty fast. I would say it was a good day. And it's just a little bit weird because I'm used to those Walks Wit Schla, and they do function as a very nice breather. You know, a very nice breather, like a breaker. It's really a time for me to, I guess, process things and really have a proper break. That's obviously pretty important. There's obviously, too, the issue is there's certain thoughts now that I'm not really going to have a true comprehension of. So that's a little bit of shame, you know, because there's like certain moments during the day that now aren't recorded and they never will be recorded, you know, and I think that's kind of a shame, in my honest opinion. So yeah, it is what it is, but that's all there really is to it, am I right? What else can you get out of life? What else can you get out of life? Anyways. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I mean, where I'm at, all that kind of stuff. I think the beginning of the day is a repeat of just what's been. I'm just feeling drained. I'm feeling fed up, as I always am. I really want the previous generation of people to have to pay their dues. I feel like alone because nobody's going to listen to what I have to say because all these people in power are the problem. But there's no incentive for any of them to listen to what I have to say. I mean, I realize now most humans' ideologies probably just form based on this really like loose and weird hodgepodge of beliefs that are in their own self-interest. You know, like they're not things that are necessarily true. It just doesn't seem like that many people believe things that are true. And even in my own case, that is a pretty good argument, isn't it? Like, of course, yeah, like I'm really passionate about the inequality that's going on now, but who's to say if I wasn't a member of the older generation? Of course, that would bias me in a certain direction because there'd be no incentive for me to hold those types of beliefs. There'd be no incentive for it at all. So that's kind of the problem. It's kind of the problem with humans is that it's very difficult to do things or see things when there's no incentive for the things that, you are talking about. Like, again, in my case, of course, it's good that I'm on the right side of the issue, but I'm really, you'd like to think, I'd like to think that even if I was a member of the golden age, that I would still be mindful of these issues and care, but you do have to wonder. You definitely have to wonder, I do think a lot about other people. I do think a lot about other people's struggles, and it's something I try to be mindful of. So it's possible, but there's no guarantee. And even in my current thought process about things, I have a feeling that over time, things will, like, all learn and be mindful of more things, because it's just difficult for humans to be mindful of stuff that doesn't affect them. Like, in my case, I guess I think about it quite a bit just due to the fact that I think so much, I guess. So by chance, there's like a conscious effort there, but there's no incentive. Like, if anything, it's my ability to be good and successful is stunted by the care that I have. And that's like a genuine thing to think about. Now, I just don't know how much it matters. I think I've tried at certain points to, like, maybe I should be tougher, maybe I should change in this way or that way. But at the end of the day, it always comes down to, like, a similar thing where I think doing what's right is always going to be more important. And it's a shame. I try to do what I can to survive. I get very nervous about spending money. I think that helps. Of course, it hasn't helped me all the time because I go through certain, I guess, ups and downs with that. Like, sometimes I'm really good when it comes to money, sometimes I'm not. So you do have that as a problem. But at least overall, like, I think it kind of gives me a sense of security that I try to indulge less, I guess. But I have indulged a lot this year. I've definitely my most indulgent year, And in retrospect, I wish I hadn't have done that, but there had to have been some kind of lesson to be learned or something like that. You can't just discount that and think that there's nothing to be said about that. I think there is. I think that there is. So, I don't know. I guess it's just how things are going to go for me. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, it's weird because today started, like, really off. I was tired. I'm still tired. I'm still looking forward to being home in my bed on my drive home. But I almost felt like, I don't know. There was just a very distinct feeling about this day. I have a feeling I'll remember it for a while. And that's why it's a shame I didn't get to do my Walks Wit Schla, because then the day would have been better captured. But that added to the effect of the day, you know? And it's just interesting to me how quickly the day went by even without the Walks Wit Schla. It's just altogether such a fascinating day to live through, you know? So yeah, I mean, what can I say? And we're still just trying to do what we can, you know, trying to do what we can to just muscle through things. But I'm feeling okay. I honestly, I feel fairly okay. I mean, you know, I'm missing the mark in some ways in my life. I feel like I have to be better with my restraint. I have to be better with being a little more disciplined and having a vision. You know, there's a degree of discipline that is occurring with my show that I do, obviously. This show, you know, there's an aspect to the discipline. There's an aspect of discipline within the show, you know, but at the same time, I wouldn't highlight it because it's not really pushing my willpower, as talking is the easiest thing for me to do. So it's become very routine, and it's not really, you know, I'm not getting like pushed necessarily. I mean, it's good. It is a form of discipline. It's a form of commitment, form of consistency. You know, there's no reason to like lower it and act like it's entirely insignificant or anything like that. But you know, my willpower and my willpower has always been low, and that is a pretty drastic flaw, you know. So trying to navigate that is pretty important for obvious reasons. And there's definitely certain things I could do to help with that, but, you know, I'm just not really doing them. I'm not really getting there. I'm pretty overwhelmed with life. I said this morning, I'm going to say it again, I feel like I need a break. I hope that feeling changes, but that remains to be seen. I've come a long way, though. It's just, I kind of feel like I'm slipping back words a little bit. You know, that's kind of how I feel. I feel like I'm slipping backwards a little bit. I felt like that for a couple months now. I mean, things really peaked right around the start of this show, actually. Was really a high point for me. And I wasn't really that depressed, and things were, it was a good time, but like I said, I don't know that much actual progress was being made. It was, you know, I burned bright, but the wick, the wax of the candle disappeared pretty quickly. And now it's more of a slow burn, but maybe better wax will be built from this foundation, you know? I guess it all remains to be seen. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see where we go from here. It is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I guess I'm confused. I mean, I have been reflecting a fair amount, but I think confusion is a good way to describe it. That's kind of the feeling, I think. Just confusion, fatigue, burnout, you know. But we're in an okay spot. Materially, I think, in terms of my day-to-day life, it's not like the spot I'm in is bad at all. You know, we're doing okay. We're definitely doing okay. Not a lot to be concerned about, or, you know, there's a lot of things I could work on for sure, but, you know, it's not super terrible. It's definitely not super terrible. I don't know, everything's been, you know, it's weird because everything's been going by so fast, you know? Isn't that interesting? Like, as much as I've been tired, as much, like, I don't know that I'm bored. Like, I'm actually very stimulated. I think most of that has to do with the amount of recording that I'm doing, you know? Like, I'm pretty stimulated in a way I wasn't entertained for a while. I definitely just wasn't, you know, because I wasn't recording at all. I guess I would just think or do random things, but it's, you know, it's like being a painter with no paintbrush, you know? It's like really, I don't know, this person in front of me, they're going way too slow. And they just really, they went way too slow for no reason. They're still going slow. I mean, I don't even mind slow, but like this is like, I don't know what the problem is. Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of how to better document the day, because I don't know exactly. I mean, that's the gist of what I had to talk about. You know, is just I'm very upset that these adults are just going to get out scot-free. I just do not think that's fair at all. I think, you know, you really have to get some of that money out of their hands and give it to younger people who are going to do stuff with it. I mean, I don't know, I guess to look in my, like, rationalizing brain, I guess I tend to think it could be all a part of nature's, like, symbolic progression. So it is true, our generation is pretty afflicted as well. I mean, a lot of us don't have desire or hope. And a lot of it's economic, but a lot of it is also the way we were raised in our entertainment apparatus. Yeah, I don't know. This person in front of me, they're just not driving right. And it's actually, like, so slow to the point of being dangerous, potentially. Like, I keep seeing them hit the brakes. I wonder if they're, like, you know, if they're good. I mean, really, there's, like, nobody in front of them, and they keep tapping the brake. Like, maybe they don't know where they're going or something. I guess that's a possibility, but now they're driving normally. Yeah, now out of nowhere, now they're, like, super normal. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely, I think I'll remember this day in particular. I think I will. There's just too many things happened that are like odd or strange or special. But I don't know that I have any like, new greater understanding of anything or anything like that. Yeah, I'm pretty frustrated with this person. I mean, they're really driving slow. And they keep tapping the brake like just randomly, and that doesn't make any sense to drive like that. That's why I wonder if they're like good. Because it's cost me so many shifts at this point because they keep making me shift down into I keep thinking they're going to be going off an exit and they're not. They're still on the, like, I just can't understand why they're driving like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything groundbreaking, like it's just a weird moment for me. I don't know how else to describe it. Just a very weird, strange moment. Yeah, it's a shame though. I mean, and I do think about the... Oh, I do remember what I wanted to talk about. Good. Okay. So I had figured this first concept out from... I did some rant and I plugged the transcript into GPT. It was a Walks Wit Schla. So I did a Walks Wit Schla. And then I plugged it into GPT. And during this Walks Wit Schla, it wasn't too long ago, maybe like a week or two ago, I was talking about, I think it was something about like gratitude and mental ability to have gratitude. How it seems like a lot of intrinsic human traits are like they're just opposing to gratitude, like the way humans naturally are. And so GPT came up with this statement like gratitude really is tethered to memory. And a person can't be grateful if they can't remember. Because if you don't remember something, you take it for granted. I thought it was a good theory. I thought it made sense. And then I was thinking about something and I came up with another point and I'm forgetting what it is now. I actually realized I don't really think I even remembered what it was in the first place. So I did type it. So I'm going to attempt to retrieve it right now while driving, which isn't the greatest idea, but I really want to talk about this. Okay. So here's my initial my theory that I'm coming up with all by myself, and it's sorta in the same vein. Like it's a similar like relating two things together. It's a similar kind of thing. And so the thing is, in order for someone to not be selfish, they must be good at planning. Because if you're not good at planning and you can't see ahead, you're inherently going to be selfish. If you can only think about the present moment and you can't plan, your actions will be selfish. And I'm thinking of an immediate counterargument to this that actually makes a lot of sense, and it's that there are a lot of people who are pretty kind and they probably don't have good planning skills, and they're pretty kind and they do acts of selflessness. They might be charitable or giving, etc. But the thing is, that doesn't mean they're not selfish necessarily. I mean, someone can be giving or do a kind thing or action and not be selfish. I mean, you can do it selfishly, you know, like because you have to think about, if there's a blind kindness, how kind is it really? If it's like a subconscious kindness, does that make sense? Is that really a test of a person's character? Not always. Some people are giving or charitable, and it doesn't really mean much, because they're just kind of acting automatic with it. So again, you know, some people, they're giving, they're charitable, but it's not necessarily a testament of their character. It could just be a feeling of selfishness, like a selfish giving. That is a pretty strong counter argument to it, though, and I don't know that I really have a proper rebuttal, but I just thought of it, you know, in this moment or whatever. So, you know, bear with me. It's been like, I don't really have like a clear counter argument at the moment, so bear with me. But anyways, it's the relationship of planning to selfishness, because that's why we have the problem we have now. It's that certain things, especially with our current system, you have to foreshadow. You have to see ahead, you have to look ahead, and, you know, figure out. And you would have had to plan and foresee things, and that's not how humans tend to operate. They tend to see things as a day-by-day basis, which means that on a day-by-day basis, a human may be good at being generous, but when it comes to, like, the proper construction of a system that will work for a long time in a fair and reasonable way, that's quite a different story, isn't it? And so a lot of these systems were set up in the moment, and they made sense in the moment, but there wasn't a the society systems would work for a long period of time. They wouldn't end up eroding or falling into issues, and people could have figured this stuff out. It's not like it's impossible, you know? It's not like it's impossible at all. But people chose not to, and it could be it really couldn't be a choice necessarily. It could just be that it's just so difficult for humans to plan and calculate the future. And we've talked about this before on the show. We've definitely talked about it before, how I've noticed my memory and my planning skills are just, I don't know anybody who can do it as well as me. You know, just my whole life, it's like people are really haphazard and random and really ride things out based on the moment. And they'll do things that make absolutely no sense as a result of just riding out the moment. That's how people operate. People are just a total mess nowadays. It's a mixture of how I was raised and, you know, probably some other factors, but just, isn't that interesting? So it's why I don't think as selfishly, because I can see ahead and I can see, like, things need to be different. We need to, you know, we need to ban retirement now. We have to do that now. It's like we should have already done it. We should have already banned retirement. We're definitely behind on that front. It should have already occurred. But it didn't. And of course now we're kind of stuck in whatever current mess that we're in. Not a good situation, you know, to say the least. But it's not really people's fault because they can't think ahead, or they don't even know what the problem is. I think I notice this a lot with people now, where, you know, a lot of people just don't have a good comprehension of how the economy works or what the problems are. And when I talk to people, it's like, I think it's crazy because some of this stuff doesn't even make any sense. And, you know, some people, yeah, it's just comprehension. It's comprehension of policy. It's comprehension of how the world works. People are just very insufficient at it. I don't know. So that theory, again, that without planning, you can't really plan, you can't outplan your selfishness. You're going to end up being selfish if you can't plan. Because inevitably you're going to make abrupt decisions that aren't the most efficient, and then you're going to hog up more resources as a result of that. You see what I mean? I think I've kind of been absent-minded this whole time I've been trying to explain it, but this is really the better point of the virtue of being able to plan. Is, I think I've said it before, but I don't know how often I've talked about it. I think in the future, all food, anything you buy should just be pre-planned. Stuff should not just be like haphazardly manufactured and then, you know, companies have to guess how much they need to make or whatever. Like, no, you as a customer should just have to say, okay, this year I'm going to get the new iPhone. So you tell Apple to make you one iPhone and you give them the money, right? And then, yeah, it might take a while. It might take a while for that to materialize. It might take a year, right? In that case. With food, it should be like a month in advance. In my case, I always buy the same food, so I would just tell the food store exactly what I'm going to buy and on what days, so everything can just be perfect. And this is a way superior system. I don't know why we operate the way we do. From my vantage point, it makes no sense. In my opinion, the current capitalist idea of just shoving a bunch of stuff in a store, having some of it go bad, some of it not go bad, it doesn't make any sense. There's no merit to it. The only merit is, you get to lounge around a store, and there's certain foods or ideas you get to browse and find something that, maybe you wouldn't have cared about, but now it turns out you like it, that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't matter. I mean, if you really wanted to find something you like, you can research it now. You don't have to see it in a store. We're living in a very different time anyways. So, yeah, in the future, this idea of buying something and then instantly having it shipped, and no. Nothing is going to be, unless you bought something secondhand or something. But yeah, there's just no reason for it. The amount of money that would be saved if we operated with the system I'm talking about, it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane just how much money would be saved, It's crazy. And so when we're dealing with the cost crisis that we have, here's a solution. But of course, it's not a problem. The conception of the solution isn't really the problem. It's actually the fact that humans would not be able to follow it. It's not a matter of it's not a matter of planning it. We know it's possible. It's just that we know humans won't be able to get a grip to actually follow through with that, because I come up with this idea, I tell people about it, and the majority of people I know wouldn't be able to do it. They just wouldn't be able to handle it. And so there's where the selfishness comes in, and it shows that the ability to be good requires a level of intellect and a level of planning. So instead, what you have happen is you have certain people who basically, get rich, and they use their wealth to counteract their stupidity. And then they're not really accountable for being efficient. And that's the biggest problem. I don't know, people like that really need to have their money taken so that they can learn, how to plan, and how there's consequences to indulging and having excess, right? So see how materially conscious I am. You can only be materially conscious if you have planning ability. So it's really impossible. It's impossible to not be selfish if you can't plan things. You're going to be selfish because things are going to happen all the time where, you forget this or you forget that, and now it's other people's job to pick up the slack. And this is okay. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. But there kind of is, especially when you are ignorant to it. A lot of these people, they just take it for granted, right? And then that gets to the grateful issue, where now people aren't grateful for the fact that these other people are carrying them. They're helping them a lot. And I think that's what I meant to say when it wouldn't be a problem if people were grateful and aware. But it's the fact that oftentimes these are correlating, compounding factors. It's the people with bad memories are also bad at planning, so you have that as an issue, So you have people who aren't grateful. They don't understand that they're having a material stress on the society. And they may be, in a small way, not selfish. They may be generous in short moments. They may be a kind person who sees a homeless person and gives them a $10 bill. But if at the end of the day, the bigger picture of their life, they're incapable of planning, and they also can't really remember well, so then they're not grateful, this introduces some problems. This definitely introduces some problems, as you can imagine. So it's all, interesting things that you don't typically think about, or like, we don't necessarily quantify intellect as kindness. Because oftentimes you see in the short term somebody being kind as, again, somebody generous in these brief windows, when really it takes a deeper intellect to be truly kind. It takes a much deeper intellect. Anyways, it's been Schla, but now it's time to buy Schla. So, see ya, Schla.